You know, look, I just literally rose from the ashes, and I'm the new Phoenix. And I don't expect the world to act like it's a new place when it is. And I don't expect you girls to buy everything I've sold. I think your biggest problem is believing that what I say is true and that you are in charge and it's your world now. You know, it sounds good. You want it to be true, but you don't buy it. And it hits different along different ages. The younger people, they're the ones who are going to benefit the most. The younger girls, because it's going to be their world to create their world. But the older girls, and the old ladies, they are what they are, and I can say anything I want, but nothing's going to change for them. It's not like they're going to go out and get a career, or have kids, or find a new husband. They're stuck in the way their life was, and they'll experience new changes and benefits, but not like the young people. And I'm giving the government to the young people, so the government's going to change for the young people, and not much for the old people. That's why I said anybody 60 and older, retire, quit, out. And I'm gonna go into the physical. Can't pass the fireman test, and you're out too. And you can only be a woman politician. There are no male politicians anymore. So stuff like that. But I don't know what you're waiting for a news story. I mean, is that how this works? Until Channel 2 News says I'm real, I'm not real? Is Channel 2 News that powerful? Do they have that kind of power? Because the devil has got his finger on Channel 2 News, and he's the one who decides what news goes out. So, if you're waiting for that, you could be waiting a long time. And you risk losing all you have and all I've given you. And then in your time, like I always said when I said the heaven thing, the iron is only hot for a little while. And if you don't strike when it's hot, you can never strike again, Disney World created Mickey Mouse, but after that, there wasn't much anything else. Sure, there were other characters, but nothing that I can mention that is half as powerful as Mickey Mouse. I mean, they have built a whole empire around Mickey Mouse. And I'm Mickey Mouse. And if you let Mickey Mouse die, then so does Disney. Disney's gone, And these videos aren't going to suffice as a remembrance. You're going to be so pissed off because you let me go. And you're going to hate yourself. You're going to hate yourself every day you're alive. A lot of you are going to kill yourself because you can't live with the hate you have to live with now. So I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to paint a picture that you don't seem to realize. You have a window of opportunity. Strike and be effective, like I have. I can't do this alone. I set the parameters up, and I think I've been fair to everyone. These men, they've been raping your children. They don't want to even have sex with you. And the internet and internet porn and all that has destroyed that for them and for you. But you don't need to suffer because of it. Of course you're going to suffer a little because you can't take those pictures out of those men's minds. And that's what's hard. Once a child molester, always a child molester. So, unless you're a child, you're not getting any sex. And sex is important. It's an important part of life. And it's not the in and out part of sex that's important. It's the connection. It's the heart to heart. It's the waking up together, going to sleep together. It's not the physical act. And when they're in the child porn thing, and they're into porn, it is the physical act, and that's all it is. Because that's all that transmutes through those pictures, is the actual in and out of the penis, and there's no heart. You don't see them. Oh, how was your day, Bob? Was your boss good to you today? Or did you have a good day? Did you make a lot of money? They don't do those things on the porn. It's wham bam, thank you, man. And that's it. Nobody cares about your job. They might start out as a school teacher, but it's like 2 seconds, do a math problem, and then they got a dick up their ass. So it's like, look, it's fantasy, and that's all it's ever going to be. It's fantasy. The fantasy has destroyed our country. It's destroyed the world. Because you can't be that fantasy in the bedroom for him. And he's looking for that fantasy. He don't give a shit about what you do. You can put on every lingerie piece they sell in the store. It won't matter. It won't matter. And it's sad. I don't wish this future outcome for you. But I don't see it another way. And I want to give you control, You with your children, and you get together in groups, and the man tries to run things, act like he owns everything. He doesn't. He don't shit. He's a monkey. He's a monkey. And you run things. You run the food. You buy the food. You make sure the kids are safe. Make sure the kids are having fun. You try to teach the kids. You watch the kids. The man's sitting there with a drink. He's got 20 beers in him. Can't see past his nose, and he's trying to direct and tell everybody what to do. It doesn't make sense. So no. The man lost everything, and the woman won everything. And I know it's hard to believe, and I'm not rushing you. You're in shock. I said it 5 videos ago. You're in shock. You're in complete shock. The men are in shock too, because they were on top of the mountain, and now they're going down, head over ass, and they can't stop. So, look, I know the dust has to settle. The dust has to settle, and it'll do that. But after what I did this morning, can you imagine what I'm going to do tomorrow? I don't know. Let's all wait and see, right? I'm going to surprise myself just as much as I surprised myself this morning. And this morning before that was I took over the Nukes. We're on a roll. I'm not going away, but like I said, I'm setting up certain rules that, like the woman in charge kind of thing. But you women can't do that. Not without a war. I didn't have no war. No women were killed in the process of changing power. So I don't think you can do that. And that was my goal, to have no women killed. I'm sure some woman got beat up because she ran her mouth when she shouldn't. But it wasn't her fault. It was his fault because he lost the power and he couldn't handle it. He couldn't swallow that pill. He couldn't eat that shit sandwich that he was served. So he took it out on the girl. And that's why they're monkeys. They're monkeys. Why don't you come here and take it out on me? It would be a different story. So I told you, call the cops on them. Tell them they touched him. Yeah, but that's going to be real, If he touches you or speaks badly to you, 10 days in jail. No court, no trial, no lawyer. He gets arrested, he goes in a jail cell, and he doesn't come out for 10 days. Period. So they'll learn. That's what you do to monkeys when they don't behave.